Hi everyone, my name is Gabriella. I am a sophomore at Cass Med, a member of Cass Schools Network, and a marketing and communications intern for Cass Network. I chose Cass Med because I was never really interested in a regular high school experience, and I always wanted to be challenged and pushed, but also helped along the way, and I knew Cass Med could fulfill that. I knew by attending Cass Med that I would be opening the door to many new opportunities and experiences just as this, because I know that I would never been able to do something like this just at a regular high school. And right now I'm actually supposed to be in Mexico, but unfortunately that got pushed back. But it's just another experience to add to, um, you know, uh, just a long list of them. Um, and I also knew that CAST or any CAST school would prepare me for college and just set that pathway and make it easier for me. And I think by attending CAST or any CAST school, CAST STEM, CAST LEAD, CAST Med, um, you're immediately putting yourself in a safe learning environment because all the people around you, whether it is a teacher or a student or any staff member, they have the same mindset and same goal of putting you and getting you to the destination, which is college. So those are just some of the reasons why I chose Cass Med. And then, so what are Cass schools? The Centers for Applied Science and Technology, or CAST, is a network of schools focused on experimental learning with a mission to maximize opportunities for students so that they are college ready, career ready, and ready for life. The CAST network, so some of the things that the CAST network is committed to is exposing its students to multiple careers through job shadowing, internships, and paid job opportunities, just like many of us here are doing right now. Connecting students with industry partners who act as mentors, motivators, and help create these or help map a pathway for these students to achieve their dream career. CAS puts students in a position to take advantage of up to 2 years of college credit to lighten the burden of the cost of college education. And it prepares students to enter the workforce and compete for jobs in high demand and high wage job markets. To guarantee it guarantees each student a job interview upon their graduation date, and listens to student voices and feedback to ensure that we are delivering our promises. This summer, CAST Network students filled 90 internships across 18 different organizations, from companies such as HEB and Plus One Robotics, medical professionals such as Save the Clinic, government entities such as Berks County and NSA, to nonprofits such as Ignite Mindshift, Earn a Bike, and Summer Service. Today is National Internship Day, or Intern Day, and we are joined by both students and their employers as they share their summer internship experience. Welcome all to CAST Live. So, Ms. Jenkins, as the program coordinator at ALA, you connect students with internship opportunities. Can you share how that works and what makes your role unique?
Hi, yeah. So it starts off kind of the year before the students begin their internship experience. We'll kind of do either a career interest survey or a Google Forms that I'll have some information on all of the students, and I'll know like what they're thinking about majoring in college, or kind of what universities they're thinking about going to, or what their first line of work of interest may be, or kind of what a random job of interest may be. So I'll have all this information, and then the next school year we'll sit down and I'll talk with the students and I'll say, here's what you were thinking last year. What are you thinking now, so that we can start talking about, you know, kind of what kind of jobs you'd like, what kind of internships you would like to apply for. So we talk whenever we have whenever I sit down with the students and we talk about what kind of internships they'd like to apply for. We really talk about kind of thinking outside of the box too, to like think about, what kind of jobs they've always been interested in, but then also what their skill set is and what majors they're thinking about having in college, and kind of what jobs and what volunteer experiences that could align with those jobs. So after we have that big conversation about all their skill set, all their interests that they've ever had in their careers, then we start applying to different internships, and then see what goes from there. It's been a really fun experience for the students, and they've had some very rewarding and unique internships. We've had students who are interns at Gemini Inc. We've had students who are interns for the SAISD police department, some who were interns at an engineering firm. And then throughout the school year, I'll check in with the students and I'll say, like, how's your internship going? And we'll talk about like what they do on a day-to-day basis and if they need any help along the way. But I forgot to mention that before that, we also talk about interview skills, and we work on their resumes before they even apply for their internship.
Amazing. I think it's very awesome how CAS actually helps students get these internships and these new experiences. So Liam, this summer you interned at HEB. Can you tell us about what you're doing and what you've learned?
Yeah, so right now I'm working on an app called iDrive for HEB's transportation, or the transportation part of the business. So basically, what it is the part I'm working on is called Hall of Fame, and it's for drivers. When they reach certain milestones, they get an award. So like 100,000, 250,000, 500,000. And the previous system that transportation had for knowing when drivers were about to get an award and distributing awards was very inefficient. They had to use just Excel spreadsheets, and that's it. So my job is to help make an app, or help work on an app to automate that. So I've worked on some of the back end logic to know when like to send an email to a certain terminal, which terminal to send it to. And right now I'm working on the HTML and CSS for generating, I guess, certificates and pulling down the specific driver fields. But I think the main thing I've learned, the most important thing, is how the software development cycle works. I've never worked in an environment where Agile was really implemented this much. So I think that experience is the one that's going to carry over the most, and the most valuable for me is how software development, how it plays out, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then let's see, Hezron, where did you intern this summer and how was your experience?
Sure. So I actually had 2 internships this summer, one with Cyber Texas, which was a virtual internship, and one with Plus One Robotics. I don't know if you can see it right there, my cool swag right there. Okay, yeah, Plus One Robotics. So let me first talk about Cyber Texas. One of the main goals of Cyber Texas is to advance cybersecurity in the education and the workforce. So I and 5 other CAS Tech interns were tasked with creating one website for Cyber Texas and another website for the Alamo chapter of the Air Force Association. I actually pasted those websites in the chat. They're still a work in progress, but that's what we've been working on so far. Where to start? So with Cyber Texas, I learned about teamwork. Every week, me and my team would get together and create a Google Slides presentation, which we would then give a virtual presentation to our customers and employers to let them know what have we been working on this week and what do we plan to work on the following week. Specifically, there were 2 tasks divided among the interns: security, cybersecurity, and design. I was on the design team, so I was tasked with the organization, the layout, design flaws, and adding new mechanics and features. The question in my mind was always, how do I get users to want to stay on this website and learn more about what we have to offer as an organization? I learned about customer communication, what's the ideal website in their mind, and I learned about deadlines because we had 1.5 months to create 2 websites. So overall, before this internship, I never created a website before, and now I've worked on two. So I think that's something great to put on my resume, and the overall experience learning about plugins, basic security, design, and all that good stuff. My second internship, oh, sorry.
It's okay.
So my second internship was with Plus One Robotics. I felt like I went from zero to hero like in a matter of days, because here I am at home, and then in a couple of days I'm at a real company with real solutions to real problems with very real customers. I'm not allowed to disclose all their names, but again, I posted another link in the chat to some of our news links. At Plus One Robotics, we're about always on logistics. So we work with robot arms, but specifically the machine vision that allows those robots to see the products they're handling. So I am an AI data intern. I work with data collection in the customer experience center where the robots are. I then label the data I collected, and then that data is sent off to other employees to create AI modeling. I will learn how to AI model in probably the next week. These AI models are then used to enhance the robot vision system. So I feel like I have a very important role here. I could see my place within the company, and the culture here is very nice. Even as we speak, they're throwing a mini farewell party for one of our employees. It's his last day at Plus One Robotics. I had lunch with the CEO a couple of weeks ago, which was a very informative experience. And now I can honestly say I have a better idea of what I want in my future career. I know how to better interview for future careers, and I love my job. Thank you.
It sounds like a very tough job, so applause to you. Miss Chain, what qualities do you look for in a high school intern, and why does HEB partner with CAST?
Well, those are great questions, right? And so I'll tell you that when we look for a high school intern, we're definitely looking for students that are enthusiastic about wanting to learn, right? They don't need to be an expert in the area they're going into. They need to have some background and some understanding of the field they want to go into and the internship that they're applying for. But just being enthusiastic about wanting to learn, being excited, right, about that, passionate about the work. Those are some things that we look for. In a high school intern. Communication is great. You know, I could go through all the soft skills or marketable skills that we look for, but I think you guys have probably had those hammered into you. But really just being enthusiastic about the work, wanting to learn, passionate about building your future. We partner with CAST because we know what you're teaching. Like industry helped to create the curriculum. So we know that what the students are learning is actually viable in the workforce, right? So you're learning skills that are directly going to translate to what we look for in partners at HEB. And so it's been super exciting. We want future partners. We want people to come work for HEB. We love hosting high school interns. I've had, of course, Liam was with us with CAST. We had 2 cybersecurity interns from CAST with HEB in the fall that did amazing work. And so we see that what you guys are learning is strong. The curriculum is strong, and the soft skills you're learning, like you just heard Liam, you know, speak to the group, and that some of those, that just being able to speak to a group, even in this Zoom environment, is so important. And so we'll continue to partner with CAST. It's been an amazing experience, and we're excited to see what the future holds. You guys are going to graduate next year, some of you, and we're excited to bring some of you on board with HEB.
Thomas, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So can you talk a little bit about your experience?
All right, so Plus One Robotics is a great company. They were voted as one of the best places to work, and I honestly couldn't agree more. Going off of what Hezron had said earlier about the culture, it is a great culture. Everyone here is very interconnected, and we work together very closely. I have learned a lot through this internship. One of the things that we've been working a lot with is, of course, data tagging. So right now we've been tagging images so the robots that we work with can pick up objects and bring them to their destination. it's a lot of stuff in e-commerce. So it replaces humans that would regularly just pick up boxes and move them into other bins. It cleans up that process and it makes it a lot faster. Through here, we've done a lot of work with, of course, the labeling software, which has been open source. So one of the big things that both Hezron and I learned was about tinkering with it, looking through files, changing shortcuts, making these open source programs more efficient, easier to use. And we've even recently started writing up some company documentation to uh, better the experience of others that do data tagging. Data tagging is a huge part of Plus One Robotics, and it's kind of a rite of passage into the company. It's something that everyone does, and it's very essential um, to the company's success. Another thing that we've been working on has been, as Hezron mentioned earlier, a big project that both of us are on. We can't name the name of the company. However, we have been sent data and we have been um, talking a lot with people who are outside of the office through Microsoft Teams and working together to make sure that everything gets done on time and everything gets done well. And it's all just been a great experience. Everyone here is very helpful, very supportive, and the company culture is great. We have something happens like every Friday. We have sync meetings on Wednesdays, and every day at 4:30, some people get on a call and we all point together for 90 seconds, which is a very sort of short, but it's a very welcome break. You're kind of like getting towards the end of the day, so you're a little bit tired, and that kind of reboosts your energy and it helps you get through the last hour to hour and a half that you're working.
Thank you for sharing your experience. Jamie, can you tell us about Earn a Bike and what interns are responsible for?
Yeah, I'm Jamie with Earn a Bike. Earn a Bike is a nonprofit. We work with underprivileged youth and adults. We help provide them bikes for recreation, for fitness, for overall health. And we have a number of different programs that we use to facilitate our different types of learning. When COVID hit, we had to, one of our programs is that we work with kids inside schools to help provide them bikes. We do a program where they lead up, we're learning their responsibility, learning their mechanics of bikes, how to take care and take care of their own bicycle. And then they earn their bike going through this course. The last thing they do is they build a bike together with volunteers within the community. Once COVID hit, we typically have a program at the end of the year, into the school year. But with COVID this year, we had to move all of our stuff online. So one of the things that our interns did is they actually helped us build that online learning platform. It's our second edition. We had one edition that was up, and we started building a second one. The interns were helping work with that and trying to find new engaging ways of working with elementary students and junior high students to get them more engaged in a online learning platform. So a lot of things that they were learning and a lot of things that they were working on in school helped us with that. The other things we worked on with was a customer relationship management, a CRM. We had not used a full-blown CRM before we had the interns, and they started working on that, inputting data, managing the system, and then also kind of a number of things that worked along with the CRM. We also started up a new online store. Since we are a nonprofit, we have to find ways, interesting ways to earn money for the programs that we really want to work on. And so one of the things we do is we get donations in, and we also have to sell those products to other people out there. So they helped us set up on the online store, building the inventory list and the management that goes along with that. And then kind of more things that are involved. We had guys working on website design and visual designs for our program as well too. So they did a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time. I'll let them kind of speak to more what they did.
So Danny, you interned with Earn a Bike. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
So my experience with Earn a Bike was very informational. I learned how to use Excel more in like spreadsheets. Like we made the online website, so I learned how to input data and make all that stuff. And we also made the, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, but with Earn a Bike, I also learned that teamwork is very important. Everybody has their own role, and it's vital that everybody succeeds because we can't reach our common goal without everybody's input. And with Earn a Bike, I learned that teamwork is very important and communication is key. So communicating with everyone to reach a common goal is very important.
Thank you. Julian, you also interned with Earn a Bike. So can you tell us what advice you would give students that are looking into interning with Earn a Bike?
Yeah, at Earn a Bike, we usually have to collaborate, and you need to be able to work with other people because you're going to have a goal, and that goal you have to achieve, but doesn't mean you can always do it by yourself. So usually you're just going to be working with people, and you're going to, even if it is how it is, you're going to always have to push for it and then be able to do it. So I think the advice I would give to people for Earn a Bike, but for also interns in general, is to be open to everything, because as an intern, you're expected to learn and you need to learn. So that is what you would do.
Okay, thank you. Lainey, what is the mission of Ignite Mindshift, and how do interns help you achieve that mission?
Yes, so the mission of Ignite Mindshift is we teach different key mindsets and personal leadership skills to typically high school students through their high school programs. A lot of schools, unlike Cass, don't necessarily focus on this, and they definitely don't focus on it in a comprehensive way. So these are the soft skills or power skills you think of, anything from, emotional intelligence to just overall workplace success. And so we typically teach these in semester-long classroom programs, right? So that's what we're used to doing. This summer, we were tasked, due to the current situation, to take our existing content and really repurpose it for a virtual internship program with San Antonio Works program. So the interns were going to get a set of professional development training. And so we were tasked very quickly. We just had, a couple of months to repivot all of our curriculum. So I really needed interns' help, and this is where they came in, to come in and take a look at our content throughout the whole phase. So they got to see in just a short 8-week process the whole project life cycle, right? From a, software development, from a design, development to, deployment of the system and the online tool, everything along the way. And they stepped with us. So they gave us student voice feedback on, are the content modules now relevant in the online? We condensed things, we changed things for the workplace. So they gave us so much feedback. They went and researched videos, et cetera, for us. We had different teams. We had a design team that did some design work for us. We created these digital e-workbooks that went along with the online training. The CAS team helped us create those. We also had mentors, facilitator guides for all of our mentors, and they helped us get those started as well. And the reason, that we have Isaiah talking next, our company is really very focused on growth mindset, right? And really taking learnings from experience, learning through failure. And so something that the previous intern just talked about is exactly what we focus on. And so Isaiah is going to kind of highlight his experience, but basically Isaiah's really explained, he portrayed how our company culture is, taking that learning, having it as a failure opportunity for growing, and then just always being open. And that's really, Katie had talked about this earlier from HEB. That's really what it is. Sometimes it's not about someone that comes to you with a specific skill set. Isaiah will talk to you about where he landed in our company, but it's really about having that attitude and that always wanting to learn more and do more and being open to feedback. And so with that, I'll end there and have him kind of share his experience. Back to you.
Okay, so Isaiah, what have you learned during your internship with Ignite Mindshift?
before I answer that question, because I would have never known about this internship, and I'm so glad Jason had called me that day. He was like, "Hey man, I got you this internship. You just gotta do your resume and send it to Mr. Samandi." And I was like, "All right, that's a really big bet." I worked on it. I did my resume and I sent it to Mr. Samandi. And at the time, I was also looking for a job, so this all worked out for me. Like Mr. Samandi was like, "Yeah, you're gonna be able to learn new things, and you're gonna be getting paid." I'm like, "Wait, I'm gonna get paid?" And I got really hyped for it. I was like, "Yeah!" But when I first started, I thought we were gonna do design right away, right? And I was wrong. Instead of like letting that like just motivate me, I was like, hey, maybe I can learn new skill sets and I can enjoy myself. And that's exactly what I did. The first presentation was talking about growth mindset. And while going through that growth mindset article, I did my research on it and I learned so much from it. And I was like, whoa, this can really help me. And ever since that, like I read that, I was like, okay, I can continue on. Even though I saw like I did not wanted the thing I wanted, I got to do a lot more things and I got to enjoy them. While learning new things, I got into this big bump because we were separated into teams. First one was activity team, second one was design team, and the third one was logistics. Me hoping that I was gonna land in design team, but I didn't. I went to logistics and I did not know anything about it. Instead of being bummed, I remember telling myself like, hey, maybe I can learn new skill sets. And that's where I put myself and I applied myself into that. And while working with Danny, he helped me out, like saying, hey, you should learn the 1, 2, 3 ABC. And the 1, 2, 3 ABC was one, like 3 more reasons, two, 3 more reasons, and four, 3 more reasons. And it went like that. And I learned how to build a really, really good slide. But even before that, I was still struggling. I kept on going back to Danny, and he helped me too. And we're going back and forward, back and forward. And sadly, I didn't make my records, and I didn't complete it, and I felt like a total failure. But I decided to, instead of like looking in the past, keep on trying to grow and become better like person to see things. So I asked Danny, hey Danny, can you mind like going into like some workshop for me and helping me out? And like he said, all right, I got you. He put up a meeting for us and did so much explaining on it. And I learned how to do proper slides and focused on that. Afterwards, um, Lanny had sent us an email. It was like, hey, you can switch from logistics because logistics had a little very little work. And I said, hey, Lanny, can I work with the design team or activity team? And she said, yeah, that's fine. And I started working with the design team and they just taught me like new things instead of like being so like fixed mindset, like, oh yeah, I know everything. I decided to apply myself like I'm gonna learn. And I never knew about Canva. And the first thing they teach me is like Canva. I'm like, what? They teach me new things and I was like, this is really dope. While they were teaching me, they helped me out and learning new things, and I really appreciate my team for that. But with that in mind, I'm very grateful for this internship more than anything.
Thank you. I think a lot of people can agree with you about asking others for help. I know I had to on my internship, so thank you for kind of thanking them for helping you. Leela, you interned with Cast Network. What did you do and how was your experience?
Hello, I worked with many of our like arts programs, like the teachers who are in that teach in that area, and we had people like Jose de Hoyo and Amy Stengel, who were teachers, and we basically had this program. We called it the summer experience for incoming ninth graders who would so they'd probably have a familiar face, I guess, when they do end up coming to school in the next year and so I worked with Amy Stengel and Miss Burmeister for during the internship. We had like we started working on it 2 weeks before the actual experience with the students, and it was just 1 week with the students. We created masks beforehand to give the students examples. Here's mine. It was just a very creative way to show them who we are, like how we feel we are. And we had all the students make their own masks, and we had them create sounds that they felt represented themselves and poems as well. It was just all a program that helped them creatively represent themselves as a person. And we also had them do, we had like, at the beginning of each day, we had an opening ceremony or whatever. And so the first ceremony was basically to introduce them to what we were focusing on. We had a week before, we had asked the students to give us all like a phrase that help them understand the word understand. Help them explain how they felt understand meant to them. And so we created a poem. Bella Villarreal, she created a poem that we read out loud to the students. I created the PowerPoint based off the song, and we showed that to all the students so that way they could hear and start off their day with a little bit of inspiration. We had our poet laureate come and speak to us one day, and people from the nonprofit SACY as well. So we had like very fun experience with all the students. And with Ms. Burmeister, we had them pull everything that they had together into the final presentation that you can find under, well, like it was called I, because that was what we were focusing on, who they are. So it was just a very fun experience to give incoming ninth graders a chance to have familiar faces and learn about what they might experience in their schools.
Thank you for sharing your experience. Albert and Honor, you also interned at CAS Network. You partnered with educators to create project-based learning and opportunities. What did you create and what did you learn from your experience? Albert, you can go first.
So I'll start with what I learned. What I learned was really about like how much goes into a PBL, and different ways as somebody who like does these PBLs to try to engage other people, because it is hard really sometimes to engage a group with an idea that you have, and doing this, trying to make the PBL broad and you know, really attractive to a large set of people. It opened my eyes to that. And what we did, or what we made, was it was kind of like the bones of a PBL, I guess you could say. You know, we started with what the PBL is, the idea, and from there we took little pieces of it, like, you know, of the title, what the title could mean, how to broaden that title, and things like that. It was a really insightful experience, and I really learned a lot.
And Honor, can you share your experience?
So I worked with Carol on the PBL, and what I noticed before was, well, last year was my first year at a CAS school, and the PBL we had, it was very set in stone. There was a very one answer is the right answer. And of course, you can go different ways to find the answer, of course, but you know, there was only one right way to do everything in a sense. So this PBL really encouraged us to find ways to include different aspects for every student, so students could express their individuality for every student. And it really helps because students feel sometimes that they don't really have a say in what happens in the classroom or, you know, in school. So this working with teachers and students at the same time, you can see both perspectives, and it helps to make a more meaningful PBL for kids to be able to work on and feel like their input would matter.
Okay, thank you. Jason Salazar, if you can share your experience with webbing.
Yeah, so Liquid Web, I do.
Liquid Web, sorry.
No, it's fine, it's fine. It's an internet company, kind of like Rackspace, similar to them. So they are focused on small to mid-sized businesses, mainly not just like not just getting a server, but also getting like your website up. A lot of shops are using Liquid Web to go from an online store to an in-person store to an online store. My role there is I'm on the data and strategy team. So what that means is I automate a lot of the reporting that's done through other analysts inside the company that are doing a lot of the Excel work manually. I'll automate that for them. And then, but what have been focused on for the last, I'd say 4 to 6 months or so, has been attribution for all of their channels that they launch. So attributing each ad to a product so they can know where they can best spend their money the most efficiently. So yeah, that was a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for all y'all's insights and sharing y'all's experience. We will now take questions from you all. So if you have any questions, type them in the chat and then I will ask you to read them out loud. But the first question is from Ms. Russell. So if you can please ask your question out loud.
Yes, hi everyone. I love hearing all these different stories and all the learning that happened and the insights. I'm curious, is there anything that you wish you had known going into these internships that you didn't know? Thank you.
Honestly, I wish I had known more about like the day-to-day operations, because right now I'm actually in the +1 office. So I just hit the lever on my chair by accident. But we're social distancing, and there's a lot of different protocols and stuff. So I kind of wish I'd known a little bit more about that. Say mainly just like day-to-day operations, sort of working in a social distancing environment, and also sort of with the robots that we work around, safety protocols and things like that.
I wish I knew like to just try more stuff. Like, yes, I tried stuff. I wish I tried more stuff. Like literally, the more things you try, the more things you learn that you don't like, and you really learn that you don't like them, and you will really learn the things that you do like. They stand out more. So I wish I would have tried more things, and like I wasn't scared to fail, but I was scared of me not liking something. But I don't know, just try something, because something always comes from it. That's what I've noticed.
Something I've realized is that for those of us who have the paid internships, it's important to kind of treat it like a job, because you're getting paid and you have to put your hours in. And if you're like me, I'm kind of a passive person, so I don't like to ask too many questions. It gets too annoying to a certain point. So asking questions at all times to make sure you know exactly what you're doing, exactly how much you're getting paid. Because when you get a real job, at some point, it's important. This really helps you whenever you get that real job. So because you've done it already. So I think being able to ask questions so you know the entire gist of everything and not letting things just pass by because you don't want to ask too many questions, don't want to get on the teacher's nerves or anything. It's important because that's your money coming in. So I think that's the one thing that I've really noticed when working in the internship.
So the next question is from Dr. Rodriguez and Dr. Pizzat.
Hello, everyone. Great job with the presentation and the internships. My question is, if you could just give some real quick advice to those students who have not done an internship, what do you recommend? I know you guys mentioned some already, but what is it that you would really recommend so that maybe those who are a little apprehensive about doing an internship can hopefully do one as well and get involved? What do you recommend or what would you say as a recommendation to those students?
I would say Google a lot, especially in tech. There's like a unspoken rule that you have to Google something like X amount of hours before you ask someone else a question. But just generally, whatever field you're going into, Google's very useful, and I think it's underutilized. So that's what I would advise upcoming interns.
Sort of like work on your resumes, work on your interviews and stuff. As far as like if you don't like prepare yourself, and also I would say that if you're working in a company where you're dealing with a lot of adults and things like that, don't be nervous, because at the end of the day, they're the people that you work with. They want to see you succeed, and you want to see them succeed. So there's nothing that you should really be afraid of.
For an internship, you're there to learn. So I feel that by just going there, you're there to learn, to get experience, and that experience really helps. And that's what you should be there for an internship.
Always be open-minded whenever you get it or not, but always, like, besides being open-minded, whenever you have the free time, instead of like playing games or you're just bored at home, let's say, just do a little bit of interviews with yourself and just ask yourself these questions. There's a bunch of websites that you can read the questions off like in an interview and just like ask yourself those questions a bunch of times. Then you can call it a day. Or you can just work on resumes for different areas that you want to be in.
Yeah, I think the resume building is very key. I know that like even when I worked on resumes, I would bounce it off of my friends. Like I would bounce it off of Isaiah or Jason, and they really helped me not only clean up formatting, things like that, but also it helped me understand what popped out to other people when I was adding things to my resume.
Yeah, and also narrating the resume. So don't just focus too much on putting down like your skills, highlighting what you learned from each of your projects or something like that, but telling that story. There's a story in each of those bullet points, and you want to make sure you get that across, because it's one thing for you to tell them, it's another thing for them to read it.
Okay, next question from Jamie. If you could please say it out loud.
Yeah. And Thomas, just to let you know, we are all figuring out how we social distance and physically distance at work. So it is a changing environment for all of us. And it's something new that we're all trying and seeing what works best for everyone, while also trying to keep everybody safe and healthy. So it is, I'm glad that you guys get to learn this at the same time, because there's so many things that we still have to learn as a nation as well.
Oh yeah.
Great to have you guys with us on that.
I would definitely say invest in good masks and make sure to wash them.
Yes.
Biggest thing.
So my question for everybody is, what's the biggest lesson that you learned, the biggest takeaway that you can take from your internship? And some of y'all have kind of said some of those already, but I open up to the floor for you guys.
Spend the most time on the things you don't know and less times on the things you do know, because you already know them. So like it's like, I guess, human nature to be like, oh, I'm good at this, let me do it forever. well, focus on the things that you don't know, and then eventually you'll balance yourself out.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Jason. I think another big thing is also like if you discover something, if you figured something out, like with what Hezron and I have done with sort of tweaking the programs that we use, is share it. If you get the permission to document it for other people to use it, because it's better that everything that you do can also be used to help benefit other people.
Bring the right tools for the job. My USB is running out of room. I only have 1 gigabyte left on it. Also make sure to have a pen or pencil notebook on hand. Because especially in a job like mine, where this is my first job, and especially in the robotics industry, there are going to be things you want to remember, to ask questions. So keep a notebook, take notes, invest in a good backpack, one that will last you. I had a drawstring bag at the beginning of this, that was falling apart on me the first couple of days, so I upgraded to a Camelback for drinking water.
Always ask for more. Never just do the minimum.
Okay, I'm gonna do the next question from Lillian. So if you could please say your question out loud.
So I am super proud of everyone that was able to have this opportunity during the summer, even with social distancing involved. So my question is, what are some skills that you felt that you could have focused more on during your class time that could have helped you prepare better for your opportunities?
Collaboration, especially collaboration when it comes to extracurricular clubs. I know in my school we have things like Cyber Patriots, World Quest, different clubs that involve students being allocated into different teams. I think this is more important since in-class group projects, I think, are characteristically different from working together or collaborating in the workforce, because with the similarity between a club and an actual job is people are there, voluntarily, like you chose this job, right? And it's something that hopefully, ideally, that you're passionate about or interested in. So I don't know about like in-class time, but anything that you're interested in, maybe be like extracurriculars that where it involves collaboration with other students, definitely focus on that and try to be an active member.
Something I found was I wish I'd practiced a little bit more in school was scheduling and paying attention to like time management, because it's something that we worked a lot on in the during the internship, but at school we had some scheduling time management software to use, but we didn't have many different ways to schedule, and different kids have different ways of managing their time. And so luckily with this internship they give us many different platforms that we could use to manage our time in our own way, and that way it could benefit all of us individually. So I wish I would have learned a little bit more about time management in school for this internship.
So we did Excel in school, but I wish I did like pivot tables, because I've like talked to a couple friends that that do like anything with data, like Hezron and Thomas, and I wish we dealt with data in computer science, but I wish we did it more at like pulling it and then like trying to look for trends or for something like that, because I think that's a common thing all of us did, or 3 of us. Yeah.
I also want to add one more thing, sort of banking off of what Liam had said. Talk to your teammates. Like if something's happening, even if it's like a small problem, like tell them, hey, something just came up. I'm working on it right now. If it's not, solved in the next few minutes, I might need some help with it. Be vocal about what's going on. Don't just sit there and sort of, build your stress, build your anxiety trying to fix this problem, because chances are the people around you and the people that you are working with can help you.
Okay, so is there any last words of advice from our student interns?
I feel like if you're scared of like going into an internship because like you're nervous or anything, just go for it. Because like if you feel like you want to do it, then it's always a good thing to apply anyways, because then you'll have more things on your resumes and a lot of opportunities will open up for you by going into those internships. So if you're nervous, talk to somebody and ask them how they think you might fit in, or like how, talk to them and like just like give yourself scenarios of how you might feel inside those internships, and go for it, because it's always a good opportunity for you.
Don't give up. Like if you don't get the first thing that you apply to, just other things will come up. Work on what you may have done wrong. I remember there was this one interview that I did, and I thought I had done well, and I had gotten the feedback, and I hadn't done as well as I had thought. So I took that feedback and I used it again, and it really helped me like do really well with the interview with +1. I did really well with that, and after that, I had learned a lot, just from trying and failing.
Okay. So thank all of you for joining us today and for sharing your stories and experience and insights. This concludes our CAS Live Intern Edition. So thank you for joining us. We are CAST.